Tonight, we're going back to my roots with salmon patties. Salmon patties can be made one of two ways. You can use canned salmon, and in today's economy, that is perfectly fine. There are many very high quality canned salmons. Or you can do what we're doing today and make it from a salmon fillet. So I have my salmon here, and the first thing we need to do is bake it. So in order to do that, I have the oven preheated to 350 degrees, and we're going to prepare the fish, and then we'll get it in the oven and have it doing its thing. So we need some olive oil, and just like everything else I do, I just kind of eyeball it. You want to get maybe about 2 tablespoons worth on there, and just make sure it's good and coated so the salt and the pepper will be able to adhere to the fish itself. I'm just going to rub it around and wash my hands. One moment. Then we're going to want to put some salt, and the salmon. Well, salmon to me has a light flavor, so I don't overly season it. I just want just enough to enhance the flavor, but not so much that you can't tell you're eating salmon. And then a little bit of pepper. Not to mention, we'll season it even more once it's time to make the patties. Now that we have it prepped, it's time to get it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes until it's cooked all the way through. All right. Now that the salmon's cooked, we need to let it cool until it becomes cool enough to handle, and then we'll go on to the next step. All right, our salmon is cool, and we're going to flake it. It's looking good, but we're going to flake it and put it in this bowl over here. And I just simply use a fork, and it comes apart really easily. Look at that. Alrighty. So now that this is all flaked up, we need to get it in the bowl. And hopefully not on the floor. The cats would love that, but it's not the goal. And this makes quite a few salmon patties. And I like them reheated. Some people don't, but put them in the air fryer for about 5 minutes and you're golden. Alrighty. So now that we have everything in a bowl, it's time to start assembling. So I have a medium onion that I chopped up. We'll add that to the bowl. Then I always like to add a couple tablespoons of mustard for flavor. And I use either Dijon or grainy mustard. Oh, this is honey mustard, so that's going to taste interesting. But you just kind of want that zing. Then a little salt. A little pepper. A lot of pepper for this. And then I add parsley for color. Just give it a good stir and see how it's adhering to itself. Salmon is a bit of a fatty fish, but you still might need a binder in the way of eggs. But I'm going to see how it does without it. We might still have to add it. Now, one thing that I do differently than most, I use saltines. This is my grandmother's recipe, and she always used it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, take your rolling pin and get out your frustrations. Alrighty, now that I made a mess, let's get on to seeing how this works. So I'm using a whole sleeve of crackers. And again, we might need the eggs for the binder, but I'm just going to stir it up to see. Okay. Yeah, I think we're going to need a couple of eggs. What we want it to do is form a cohesive patty and hold together during the frying process. Alrighty, so let's do 2 eggs and then see where we're at. Yeah, that's holding together a lot better. So now that we have the mixture done, it's time to get over to the stove and start making salmon. All right, so we're back over at the stove, and if you're wondering what this is, check this out next week. It's my marinara sauce. But for this week, I'm going to put the stove on medium low. I have a cast iron skillet, so it tends to heat up and stay heated up. And I'm just going to let about a quarter of an inch of vegetable oil come up to temperature, because while we aren't deep fat frying this, it does need to be about halfway up the salmon patty. All right, so now that it's glistening, I'm gonna set a patty in. And of course it's not ready yet, so that one's gonna be greasy. And we're basically going to cook the patties in batches until all of the mixture is done. So I'm going to keep adding some more into the pan, and we'll get this first batch taken care of. Now, if you're worried about these being greasy, the first one will, because I didn't wait long enough, but the rest actually won't, because I waited till the oil came up to temperature. Now you want to cook this about 3 minutes per side, maybe a little longer. What you're looking for is a golden brown. The eggs are going to cook and everything else is already done, so you're just wanting to brown this up. All right, it's been a little bit, and let's see if they're ready. Yes, they are. So we're going to cook these for about another 3-ish minutes. Then I'll finish the rest of them. and we'll be done. And no, I don't always cook like this. This is a treat I get about once a year. All right, so this is the last of them. It looks like I got 10 patties. I'm not sure if I told you before, but my salmon was about half a pound. So 10 patties out of half a pound of salmon is not bad. And I'm just going to transfer this to a paper towel lined plate and let it drain for a few minutes. And then I can plate it up. And don't worry, this oil is not going down the sink. But I'll see you over at the counter and we will plate her up after she drains. All right, now that the salmon patties have had a few minutes to drain a little bit, I'll show you how I plate them up. Now, this is not something I usually eat in a full meal. I did when I was a kid, but as an adult, I just eat them as a snack. So I just take 2 patties, and that's dinner. Well, it's a snack or lunch. The rest I can put in Ziploc bags. They don't usually last long enough for me to put them in the freezer, but you absolutely could. This will last me a few days. Karen doesn't really like salmon patties, but I'll eat them for lunch and dinners throughout the week, and they'll be gone before they even have a chance to go bad. Now, there you have it, nostalgia on a plate. Now, I do hope you've been enjoying the new format of the channel with our vlogs on Monday and my cooking videos on Wednesday. If you do and find this format informative, please give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for future videos. And hit the notification bell. But until next time, agree to disagree.